Okay, thank you so much, everybody. So we have the next speaker now, which Effat Jalilian from Turkey.
Okay, first I give a warm hello to everybody, all my colleagues and friends all over the world. And I hope everybody is safe and healthy during these days and forever. Actually, I think now maybe most of you are tired from long times listening to everything and efforting, doing so many things together, especially Leila and Agustin. Thank for you two.
You don't know how much I'm excited. I'm not feeling tiredness at all. Everyone is like a new flower coming with new feeling, new taste, and new experience. Thank you so much.
Actually, I don't want to be formal. I know everybody is tired. So actually, I wanted to talk a lot as a teacher, as an instructor. I used to talk a lot, but now I try to be short and I try to summarize everything. Well, to introduce myself, I'm Effat Jalilian. I'm a qualified midwife. Just to introduce myself, I list my experiences. Actually, I'm a midwife, more than 25 years of experience in different fields of midwifery, either in Iran or in Kuwait, Australia, and online internationally. I list some of my experiences. I had my private midwifery service. I was a health instructor in a countrywide project in Iran. I was in labor room, IVF center. I was a lecturer during Baby Friendly Hospital worldwide was contributing. I was a first aid instructor in scouting, in NGO, in Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders. I was a PC assistant. I was a clinical instructor in Tehran University, Midwifery College. And now I'm an medical and general English and Turkish teacher here in Turkey. So in each field I've tried something and I've tried to learn and contribute my experiences. Anyhow, now actually I should thank all my friends and colleagues who presented very beautiful presentations in these sessions. From I think here in Turkey, I started from 1 o'clock, and I felt that very common thoughts and very common ideas and very common speakings opened up. And because we are in the common field, so most of our feelings, our experiences are common. So here, that's why I try to shorten it, shrink it to be as short as much possible. Just here, I address the policymakers and authorities. If today is International Midwife Day, if it's our day, we want to give our message. I speak on behalf of my colleagues all over the world to say that, to give this message to policymakers and authorities that we want peace, justice, health for whole society all over the world, for men, for women, for children. Some people say that Effat is a feminist person, but no, I'm not feminist. I think human beings all have their own rights. Men, women, children can be happy when they are all together. So this is midwives' message in International Midwifery Day, 5th of the month of 5 in 2002. So each one of them are double. This year is very special, 5/5/2020. So just on behalf of my colleagues, friends, and students, want to say that we want justice, health, and happiness for everybody all over the world. Anyhow, today, the title, let me, I want to share the screen. The title of my discussion is The Intimate Face of Midwifery, and it's about the barriers of physiologic childbirth, along with some suggestions. As Jutta told, we should seek the solutions. If we root out the problems, we should search for the best solution. That's why I'm addressing the policymakers and authorities, because midwives actually, they do their best. So I hope authorities will make the suggestions actualized. You know that physiologic childbirth is about empowering, let me see, yes, here. The physiologic childbirth is about the empowering mother and infant based on natural body hormones and enzymes, whereas an appropriate setting should be provided. Well, I bring up a simple question here. Do all mothers equally benefit required supportive care, such as verbal and non-verbal communication based on the physiologic childbirth trainings? Everywhere, in governmental and private hospitals, in urban and rural areas. Of course, all of us know that it's not like that. Well, let's have a look to this lovely picture with a supportive atmosphere, connected relationship, and the other one is an equipped convenient room with a bathtub for water birth. It's comfortable labor room, isn't it? But quite different with the other picture. Majority of us are familiar with this atmosphere. It's not that much peaceful like the other one, and crowded, somehow stressful, difficult to work for physiologic childbirth. And this room is absolutely different with the other one, not that much comfortable with different equipments, isn't it? Well, during accreditation, I remember, most of you remember, when we were submitting the statistical numbers to WHO, on papers, we declare a high rate of satisfaction. We may sometimes confront mothers who have not received sufficient supportive cares, or some of them might be totally unfamiliar with those kind of cares. In return, sometimes some midwives also we face that complain that some mothers are so fastidious, uncooperative, the job is frustrating. If these emotional thoughts are true, and if the answer for that question is yes, what is the reason and what are the right solutions? We should root it out and we should solve them. Well, here we have 4 preventive factors of the qualified midwifery care and supportive communication based on physiologic childbirth rules. Dissatisfaction with the job description, midwife's personal anxiety, non-satisfactory salary, and the last factor is related to mothers, non-cooperative behavior due to their anxiety. Okay, let's go to dissatisfaction with the job description. 4 items are here which should be thought about. A negative competitive atmosphere between health workers arising from an uncertain extent of authority in decision making, with more diversity of authority in different hospitals. In public hospitals are different, and in private hospitals might be quite different too. You know, new graduated midwives are really confused. They learn something, they have something in their imagination, but in reality, they face something somehow different, and they really don't know to what extent they have authority to make decisions and to do their professional functions. So it's really confusing, the confusing concept between the qualified midwife's role in terms of her authority according to the educational capability and the actual permissible activities in some hospital. Sometimes they see that they are not permitted to do their capabilities. The third one is the existence of a bossy, high-low class directorate system. Usually whatever is dominated in a regional culture in a society, the same atmosphere, the same domination we have in organizations, in hospital, and all sections of the same society or country. The last item, which is very important in my point of opinion, is lack of legal and occupational security of midwives, especially seen in sometimes, mostly it's more seen in private sectors when the midwives are employees. It's sometimes seen that unwritten rules exist between personnel. The midwife, as an employee, might be obliged to perform oral orders without recording nursing notes to hold the position and the artificial friendly cooperative atmosphere. I say artificial because, you know, in some cultures and in some countries we have such relationships. You know, it's ridiculous, but it's reality. Let us be frank. Let us be honest with each other. In some countries, we have these kind of, you know, interactions and communications. If the midwife says no, may lose the job. If she receives some oral orders, she has to follow. Otherwise, if in case of defiance, may lose the job. But in case of occurring any problem, the midwife is the only one in front of the law, is completely defenseless. That's why I say artificial friendship atmosphere. The other factor is midwife's personal anxiety. As anybody else, she may have personal mental stresses and concerns related to family or social problems, or she may suffer from physical illness or pain. And and this is, this one also can be a factor to suppress professional function. The other factor is non-satisfactory salary. It's really essential somehow. The sense of job satisfaction is highly influenced not only by the person's interest in the type of activity, but also by an equitable salary along with fair benefits. Financial factors encourage personnel to maintain the spirit of hard work, to keep up the professional activities, developmental, effective creativity. You know, in some countries, briefly, a midwife is responsible to provide the physiologic child care services during pregnancy. So many responsibilities she has to create a supportive environment with the sense of intimacy, mental support, helping mother to give a normal childbirth, postpartum care. All of these usually take a long period of time, while the last process of final stage of childbirth might end within 2 hours or even less. In some hospitals, all duties except for conducting last stage of are midwife's responsibility. If the payment is not fair in comparison to the one who merely conducts childbirth, usually the mentioned midwife will not be motivated enough to do the task efficiently because of the sense of being exploited. You know, uh, somehow, a living person need to be supported financially to live. So it can be mentioned as a um, as a motivative factor. You also may have heard, like me, actually not recently, before some of us were hearing, let her do the job since she is the one paid for. I have to work 2 shifts per day to afford my daily expenses. The arthritis of neck will be mine after a while without any money to treat, and the payment will be for somebody else. So I don't want to do a lot. See, these 3 sentences, all 3 preventive factors are perceptible in this phrase without any sign of desire of team working, while we know that childbirth is a team working process. So it is important to keep in mind to root out the problems and to solve it. And the last factor, suppressive factor, is non-cooperative behavior due to mother's anxiety. Every mother should be understood psychologically, but you may have heard, same as me, I've heard, that's just show off, she is so spoiled, not much pain, well, it's a normal labor pain. And unfortunately, I've even heard that directly mothers are told, hey, mom, why would you be so fussy? Well, you have to tolerate normal pain. Come on, I'm tired. You are not the only patient that I have. I have so many other patients to care. Why do you do like this? You made a mess. You got everywhere bloody and blah, blah, blah. And all these sentences, unfortunately, I've heard, and some were, even one of our colleagues mentioned that some nurses and some midwives may tell these things to mothers. And these conflicts, if happens, completely all that normal hormones and enzymes will be suppressed. Serotonin, endorphin, oxytocin. So all those normal secretion of hormones will be deteriorated. So here, to study and evaluate these things, we have two people to study. The first one is the midwife and the other one is the mother. In the best condition, which we have one-to-one care with that usually we don't have in crowded governmental hospitals, let us imagine that we have one-to-one care. In this condition, I mean, a very good and convenient situation, let us study a midwife or a health worker, a physician. Without the three preventive factors, everything is fine, okay? Different performance in accordance with the self-control level, patience, physical body strength, and the relationships with colleagues or mothers, and the reaction, the type of reactions in specific situations will be different. You know, the people who are in the same field, they have many common and similar reactions and tendencies, but still you see that we have different performances. A physician, a midwife or a nurse or any health worker is a human being who has one or a combination of personality types. Well, please keep this one in your mind to reach the result. The other person is a mother with any reaction related to her personality type, who look for particular supportive cares in certain circumstances. For example, imagine a dramatic, histrionic mother with a low self-confidence who needs to attract attention. These kind of mothers need to attract attentions. The reaction will be quite different with the other mother who is a perfectionist type. And in more serious condition, we have vulnerable mothers. Some of them are getting divorced, addicted mothers. Even I've seen, maybe some of you have seen, the mothers who are sentenced to death or one of their loved ones. These mothers need a psychotherapist, a social worker, but while they are in labor, they need a midwife to support them verbally and non-verbally, okay, to have a physiologic childbirth. Okay, so the mother, I'm sorry, there is a distracting sound. I don't know what's that. Anyhow, so the midwife should be skilled enough. Okay, now, so we have the midwife with the special personality type, and the other one is a mother. So two people are interacting with each other, right? Let us have a look to this picture. Can you put yourself in their shoes? See, have a look. This vulnerable mother, addicted mother, you know, alone, getting divorced, under violence, under tension. You know, some of them have mental problems, poverty. Some of them are they may be sick or they are raped, you know, different conditions. So these people, we as a midwife, we cannot approach all of them in the same method and the same strategy. Each of them need different approach as a midwife. So we should be equipped enough, right? Now, I have some suggestions. I propose solutions here. The first one, which is very important, inclusion of an abstract of personology as well as the wise verbal and non-verbal skills in the list of theoretical and clinical models of bachelor in midwifery and nursing curriculum. You know, actually, I don't know if I have time. I want to tell you a story. I was supposed to teach psychology to my students in hospital clinically. But when I went to the psychology department, they were astonished. They told, for what midwives wants to come to this area. This is the first time we see that midwives wants to learn about psychotherapy and psychology and blah, blah, blah. And I was really so sad. It was painful for me to hear these words. So I think that a midwife should have a mastery on personology. A midwife needs to have more mastery on personology, whereas theoretical and clinical courses of psychology are usually limited in most of countries for midwifery students. Familiarity with 9 personality types, for example, according to anagram knowledge, leads the students to understand the reason of any individual's tendency to have a particular reaction for responding a specific stimulus based on one's mental orientation in each type of personality. It's very important, you know, we should be equipped and skilled enough to evaluate all these tendencies, you know. This knowledge that, anagram knowledge, when I studied, I found it interesting because we can understand in what condition, what may happen for each person. So we can learn the strategies to control the condition. Additionally, it will increase students' behavioral and emotional control skills. So I hope I can convey my feelings and convey my words to you all. I'm sure all of you have, you have filled all these problems in our career. The other one is providing the possibility of a one-to-one maternal care in all hospitals, even in deprived areas, considering the workload and the number of midwives in public hospitals or in remote areas. Understanding all those informations, when a midwife is equipped with those knowledge, personology types that I told you, then we can innovate different methods. For example, watching mothers' wedding parties video. It can be very pleasure during labor active phase, right? But to divert their mind from the pain. Mothers' memorable short videos, musical slideshows of her family, or some mothers love to watch comedy films. For example, I am the one who love to hear jokes and comedy films, then my mind will be totally diverted. Of course, this method is possible for happy families that usually have a good financial condition. So midwives, all of us, all friends and colleagues all over the world, they use these methods these days. But what about vulnerable mothers? Well, this is the role of governmental and non-governmental organizations. Sorry, just a moment. I drink some water, sorry.
Well, dear Mrs. Jalilian, I think your time is getting finished, and our next speaker, she's waiting here.
Okay,
Thank you
okay.
so much.
Okay, yes, that's right. So some sounds interrupting, sorry. What is this sound? Interrupting, okay. So I pass through these papers. Okay. The other thing that I like to mention is to level up the income of nursing and midwifery personnel worldwide. And it's not difficult to understand the normal life expenses in the country. How much is the normal life expenses? So the Ministry of Labor, Insurance, Department of Tax and Finance are responsible to provide linear net income equality in any position. So in this condition, midwives can have peaceful mind to have professional function. And there are some paradox in terms of human resources. We have unemployed midwives, high unemployed midwives. In the same time, we have shortage for midwives in the same country. And still, we have tendency to migrate to other countries. And authorities, policymakers should provide the condition, the situations that make the country attractive to stay and work as a professional person. So it's not easy. Structural improvement is not easy. Many efforts should be done, but a committee should be there from all experts from all sciences to give their ideas. And the first one who should follow these rules are themselves. If the authorities and policymakers follow the rule, the people will follow them as well. So I have a word which became a rule in my family. We buy goods and consume as much as we need. Actually, the definition of basic need in one corner of the world is unfortunately equal with extravagance in another corner. And all of us know that if the wealth and facilities and consumerism is accumulated in one corner, in the other corner, inevitably, we have poverty and deficiency. So we should, means so many efforts have been done by governments and non-governmental organizations, but still we have so many problems. So let's truly intervene to relieve the pain of women, men, children, and all our common mother, nature and beautiful earth. Thank you for your time and for your patience. I hope I can convey my points, and I'll be back to our host now.
Thank you so much. It was so fantastic. We have to make another session after this webinar in other coming day that you present completely for our friends. Today we have a shortage of the time, and that's why we could not spend time. Otherwise, we were enjoying so much. I'm so sorry to cut you.
No, don't mention that. No, thank you so much for listening. And I know everybody tired. I see the participants are dropping down step by step because they are tired, and I understand that.
Thank you so much. Just so interesting.